Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the FTD webinar titled Quick Revenue Wins with Mercury Online. We are delighted to welcome today's featured presenter, Csorba, Senior Product Manager, Mercury Solutions. Just a couple of quick housekeeping notes. Check out the handout section on the GoToWebinar control panel. Also, Aaron will take questions at the end of the webinar, but please feel free to submit them during the webinar. Simply type your questions in that question box on the control panel. All right, let's get started. Welcome, Aaron.
Hey, Janet. Hey, everyone. Thanks for having me back again to talk about Mercury Online. I tailored my content in this webinar to about 30 to 45 minutes or so. It's kind of a gap there. We'll see what we get through today and how much I talk. But I do have a lot to show you, and I want you to retain as much of the info as possible that I'm going to demo and walk you guys through. So get out your notepads, iPads, take some notes. Even if you have Mercury HQ open in your admin, you can maybe do these things along with me and get familiar in real time. I'll move somewhat quickly, but we're recording this, and Janet said we'll take some questions during the demo and definitely at the end. So let me jump into my deck here. Let me just give you a quick overview. There might be some new florists in here that are new to Mercury Online and what it is. Just a quick reminder, it's our partnership that FTD has with Shopify. There's two industry leaders here, FTD in the floral and gifting space and Shopify in the e-commerce world. We partnered together a little over 3 years ago now. Shopify has over 2 million businesses on their platform. I'm sure you've seen them in many sites that you shop for on your own as a consumer. But what we've done is taken their proven expertise, their security, their mobile readiness, their reporting, their SEO, the modern themes, and we've completely customized and optimized their theme code for florists and the gifting model. And all while integrating everything into Mercury HQ, which we'll do a lot of the demo of the settings today, which is our FTD's, our point of sale, our order management, our cloud-based platform, that single pane of glass and that one place for you to manage everything from local orders, website orders, your product catalog, fees and coverage, your content. But we've also integrated, for those that are still on FTD Mercury point of sale, we've integrated having those orders sent to your order management as well. So all those orders that you normally manage there, they stay there. We funnel them all into you. So let me take a look and show you the agenda really quick here. I'll walk you guys through settings and screens in Mercury HQ and Shopify, show you some really cool quick wins, maximizing your AOV and revenue, improving some shop operations, and activating some really cool Mercury Online features. So we'll look at price adjustment rules, and this is kind of the order I'll go in. So if you take notes, this is how we're going to go. Price adjustment rules, rush delivery, tipping and gratuity, local pickup, delivery and cutoff exceptions and rules. And then at the end, I'll do a little bit of analytics and some reporting inside of Shopify admin. Okay, let me change my screen and show my browser. And here is a window you are familiar with. So this is my demo store. So I pulled up my demo store, and the first thing I want to do here is I want to take a look at, hold on, my screen? Yeah, okay. The first thing I want to do here is take a look at price adjustment rules. So what are price adjustment rules and why does it matter? So we added price adjustment rules in January of this year, right before Valentine's Day. We had many florists request this feature. We had somewhat of a simple version of this in the old Florist Online platform, but we took it really to the next level in Mercury Online. In essence, what price adjustment rules are, it's your ability to set different prices based on products within a day range or a date range that are selected by fulfillment by your customers. And we'll walk through this. And how this plays really into a quick revenue win for Mother's Day is as your costs from your wholesalers or even as market demand increases and how you want to set your pricing rules, you can increase those prices to offset those costs or to match the demand for flowers in your markets and adjust them in real time for those seasonal peak and pricing periods. So let me jump into Mercury Online, or into Mercury HQ inside of Mercury Online in the settings here. This is your dashboard for those that are on MHQ and how you manage your orders. What we're going to do to go into price adjustment rules, we're going to go click into the product catalog, and your product catalog is going to load. And up here on the right, there's this little gear that's our catalog settings. We're going to click into that gear in our catalog settings, and then we're going to load our catalog settings screen. This is where you have other options here about merchandising. But right here, this apply price adjustment rules. This allows you to adjust prices based on days or date ranges. And we already actually have 2 rules configured. So we'll go in here and I'll show you those rules. So I landed on our manage settings page, and this is where we manage all of our price adjustment rules. Let's take a look at 2 rules that I already have set up. So let's look at the Mother's Day rule that I have first, and you'll see, I'll explain to you what all these numbers and things mean on the screen. But let's take a look at this really quick in a rule that I created. So I have a price increase, and I've created one from May the 5th through May the 11th of this year to plan for my Mother's Day. I'm going to increase my prices by $14.99. Now, how am I doing that and what am I doing here? So we allow you to set this up so I can say, for all the products in my Mother's Day collection, and I chose this and I could search for anything. I can say my best sellers. So I can start typing. Predictive search will give you the option for you to choose, and then you can select the checkbox. And if I were to select best sellers, you'll see my total number of products that are going to be affected by this rule is 125. So you can come back in here and say, no, I don't want all 125. I just want Mother's Day. Got 37 in there. And what you can do now is you can see what are those products that are affected by this rule. And you can search for specific products like red roses that's not in my Mother's Day for whatever reason it might be, or it is or it isn't, whatever you choose. And you can check and uncheck your products. You can choose all products and apply this rule. You can even apply this to your add-ons as well. So you can make a price adjustment rule for there. You can increase or decrease, and you can choose by dollar or percentage, and then you can choose the amount. And then you set, like I said, the start dates show here from 5/5 to 5/11. It's a little calendar picker. You choose the dates, and then you save the adjustment. Now, the status here is also, you could set this up and preload this and come in here now and get your Mother's Day pricing already and choose which products you're going to want to increase. And then you can turn this rule to off and inactive. And if it's inactive, none of the price rules apply to your site, but once active and you save, then you're good to go. So let's take a look at what this looks like. So $14.99 we increased for our Mother's Day collection. So if we come into our demo store here and we go into Mother's Day and we take a look at our products here and we come into the apple of my eye, you're going to see that my standard price for this product here, for my standard is 65, it's 75, and it's 90. So as we get to the holiday, and this is your everyday pricing, so this is what you have your product set to be every day, but you now have an active price rule. So you want to gauge yourself so that, hey, for May the 5th through the 11th, if I were to choose the 5th, you're going to see my pricing dynamically change then by that $14.99. So this lets you put those guardrails in place for, especially around Valentine's Day, this was big. And I'll talk a little bit about some stats around Valentine's Day as we just came out of that big peak period. Your rose prices are obviously going to increase. So you're going to want to increase your prices as well. And you can do this anytime throughout the year. And I'll show you another example of a different application for price adjustment rules, but this is how you would be able to do that. So as I chose any of these dates between the 5th and the 11th, my price is going to stay strong at $104.99 for my premium. But what if I want this delivered on the 12th? My price goes back down to my everyday price. So your customers, if they choose outside of your price adjustment rule window, you will get your everyday pricing. So what I did too is I also set up another price increase. Let's say you're running a promotion. So in your roses collection, I took all my products and my roses and I decreased the prices by $4.99. So between 4/15, which is today, and Friday, I've done a $4.99 decrease. So if we go back in here and we do a search for our, let's find my red roses. I know that will be in that. Let's do our classic Love Red Rose Bouquet. So you'll see if I put my zip code in here, look at how my delivery price changed now for these dates. I'm running a promotion. So I reduced the price for decreased by $4.99. So you'll see now it's $115.01 when normally it's $120. So if I choose any of these dates in here, the 16th, it's going to stay at $115. But then if I want this delivered next week, you'll see my price is going to go back up to my everyday price at $120. So this is how price adjustment rules work. Now, I've shown you two rules. I've shown you how it works. So many florists use this during Valentine's Day, specifically for roses, but a lot of their collections for V-Day went up. So we had some really good feedback on this feature. We have since made some enhancements to this, and what I showed you is what's in production today. So this is what you guys can do, how it works, how your customers interact with it. But since you joined this webinar, I'm gonna give you guys a sneak peek behind the scenes of these enhancements that we're making. And the cool thing is all of these items are gonna go live next Thursday. So I'm gonna move into my QA store and I'll explain to you exactly what we did change. So you're gonna see here in my QA store, I have two other items set up, but there are some differences. So what we're gonna do starting next week, once we make our release, we're gonna have start and end dates be optional. So this is one of the enhancements that we heard back from florists coming out of the holiday. Some florists may wanna permanently increase your prices above maybe the FTD standard SRP. So even when new global products come into MHQ, you can set this rule up, have no start and end dates if you choose to, and then you can have the product adjust all the time for $10 more than whatever FTD is bringing them into your catalog for. That's one use case, and something that we heard from several members that they would like to have something like that. So this is an enhancement we're making to the price adjustment rules. The second option is this go live date. You're going to see this is optional. This wasn't here back in this screen. You don't see the go live date here, but now starting next Thursday, we're going to have this new go live optional date. Now what this is this actually could be used for marketing purposes if you think about it. Maybe that you want to send an email today to your customer base that says, hey, starting May the 1st, Mother's Day pricing will be in effect. Order now, order early, lock in your best Mother's Day flower pricing, or any holiday, whether it's Valentine's Day, Christmas, fall, whatever promotion that you're running, lock in your prices now. And then you can set this to be so that starting on May the 1st, if we choose that date as our go live date and save this adjustment, then that is when this rule will go into place. So your customers can pre-order now. They'll take advantage of choosing those dates between the 5th and the 5th and the 11th, and they will get your everyday pricing. But then starting May 1, all of your prices will start following your price adjustment rule. Okay, those are the first two. The third one was, you'll notice that when I was changing prices on your site, I was putting in a zip code and it was like dynamically changing the price like in real time. That might not be that great of an experience. Your customers are coming in thinking they're getting one price, and then all of a sudden your prices change. Now that makes sense if you're a month and a half out, but when your rule is active and in play and live, we should be showing your adjusted price like it was your everyday price. So your customers aren't getting any type of like price shifting and changing. So let's take a look at what that looks like. And if we take a look at this rose, again, we'll go into the red rose that we had before. I'm going to talk about two things. Let me tell you the next feature. The third thing is that all dates that have seasonal pricing applied will now have a red circle around them that shows that is a seasonal price. Because before they're just changing dates and all of a sudden you're like kind of maybe caught off guard, like, well, why did the price change? So if we take a look at what we have here, I have two price adjustment rules set up. I have one that increases the $14.99, which is a similar one that I had before, and the $4.99 decrease in prices. So the first thing, let me show you. Back here, we're showing that this is reduced already by $4.99, even loading the product page. This product, as well as in our roses collection, is Light of My Life. So this product is also reduced by $4.99. You can see I was trying to make it specific so you could see the 01. So as we go in here, it's showing my 70.01 is like my everyday price, but that's within the price rule. So if we choose zip code and we take a look here, now you're going to see that we have this red circle. And this red circle is also showing your customer that this is seasonal pricing dates. And this could be anything. You're running a promotion, a seasonal price promotion, whatever the case may be, and your price is going to stay at 70.01. As we come and start choosing dates outside of our seasonal pricing, you're going to see on the 22nd, we go back up to our regular price. So after your promo ended, your $75 price is back here again. And as we move into May, you're going to see, oh, there's more seasonal pricing. So if I choose any of these dates in here, my price is going to change. And I know that because I'm seeing that on the visually. So your customer is not surprised as products go up by $14.99 for these products. Cool, right? So this was really good feedback I got from florists. And I was really excited for us to work on this. So this was a really good feature. Let me give you some data around this. So when I talk about quick revenue and quick wins, and how can this affect my bottom line, right? So I spoke to a shop at Valentine's Day. They put together a really good merchandising strategy. They were looking at local market pricing. They were looking at trends. They took the rose stem prices into account that they were going to get from whether they're ordering from FTD Flower Exchange or from their local wholesaler or however they were sourcing their flowers. And then they were setting up the price adjustment rules. They forecasted that in their market that they would be slightly down in orders for the holiday year over year. Actually, their orders ended up being pretty flat. Technically, they were up, but it was like by 0.3% year over year. But their gross sales were up 9%, and their AOV was up 10% year over year because they applied the price adjustment rules. They were getting charged more from their wholesaler to take those flowers and purchase them for the holiday and for the peak. But then they were passing that and matching the market trends, what your customers are willing to pay, what your cost of goods are, how you factor in all of those calculations to maximize your revenue for those online orders. So even though you were taking less orders year over year, in this case it was flat, they made significantly more money for the holiday online. 9% and 10% AOV was higher. So something I really encourage you to try out, and every business is different. Try out what your sweet spots are and take a look at your costs. and figure out what is the good mix of what the good prices are that you should be showing on your site. Okay, cool. All right, let me move on to rush delivery, what it is and why does it matter. Let me go back into Mercury HQ and I'll navigate to that screen. So we're going to go into shop settings. Inside of shop settings, we have delivery pickup and fees, and then we have our fees and coverage. This is where you essentially set up how much you're going to charge for everything, your local, outside local. And now we have this rush delivery fee section. And let me just talk about it real quick. So what is it? Why does it matter? So obviously everyone knows what rush is. It's a premium offering, okay? And remember that it is a premium offering. So it's something that your customers choose to upgrade to, and it's an upgrade. They can upgrade their delivery for that guaranteed time at checkout. And we realize that every business is different. And how you have your drivers set up, your delivery schedules, it varies from shop to shop, market to market, region to region. However you run your business, it's your business. So we created several options for you to configure. You can use them all, you can use some. We've had some members use just one, and I'll talk about that, and some use all three like I have here. So to get to this dashboard here, I've set this up here so that we have a $20, $15, and a $12. So if you submit the order by 9 a.m., we'll guarantee the delivery by 11 a.m. and your customer is going to need to pay $20 for that option. Order by noon, get it by 2, it's 15. Order by 3, deliver by 5, that's 12 bucks. Okay. So along with all this different stuff, everything works together. All your cutoff times, all your delivery by times, and we'll show you. Let me switch now. Let me get into the site. Let me go back to this product here. Actually, let me use the Aglow. I'll use a different one. So let's add this product to our basket. Let's get into checkout. Let's pop my email in here so this doesn't prompt me. Let me change this to delivery. And where are my settings? 1 second. This is in my demo store, so I need to change this. Of course, when you're doing a demo, your things aren't showing properly all the time, but now they are. Okay, so let's take a look at how rush delivery shows to your customers. So those 3 settings that I showed you. So if we choose, there's 3 radio buttons here for your customers. We've configured all 3 of those settings. So delivery before 11 is 20, before 2 is 15, and 5 is 12. And now this adds on top of your delivery fee. So this is a premium feature. Your standard local fee for this zip code I have configured to be $12. This store happens to have a service charge, which I will highly say, let's not do a service charge, people. Figure out a way to get that $4.99 in somewhere else, but we have this option for you. Every business, again, different, so we have this exposed. So you have all of your fees are getting calculated here. So you have $36.99 is my total for delivery for this order, but that's because they want it there by 11 a.m. guaranteed. So we tell them specifically this would be guaranteed for delivery on the 16th before 11 for 20 bucks. I could always choose standard delivery and wipe out all of that and just go back down to my standard delivery fee of 12 bucks and my $4.99. But this is where we give you options. Now I chose tomorrow because I wanted you to see all 3 options, but the site is smart enough so that if I chose today, we're going to say, sorry, this order isn't eligible for rush delivery. You saw that really quick pop up and go back to standard because we're already past the cutoff time. So once we get past the cutoff times, then you don't have to worry about accidentally taking orders. The site is dynamically checking all those availability settings back in Mercury HQ to give it so that your customers aren't selecting something that is past the time. So as we choose a forward date, now you can see. And you can guarantee this, it's rush delivery guaranteed for any date in the future. Cool? So let me share some data with you about this while I leave this screen up. You guys can take a look at this. We had a florist who has got live chat turned on their site. They constantly receive messages from their customers and take phone calls asking, hey, is this out for delivery yet? Hey, will my order get there before they leave work? Now this florist that I'm talking about here, they're out on the West Coast. They have their delivery set up to be completed by 3 o'clock every day already. That's part of their normal standard operating procedure. They have their trucks lined up, they get everything ready, everything's delivered in their mind by 3 p.m. every day. Now, obviously outside of peak for the most part. So this generally covers everything, covers all their teachers that might be done with school at 3, or that might be covers anyone that has a 9 to 5 workday. So what they did is they turned on rush delivery. They charged an additional $5.99 for rush, and they only had one option configured. If you order by 10 a.m., we'll do guaranteed delivery by 3 p.m. Now, they provided this as a service that's guaranteed, gives their customers peace of mind for their customers for that additional roughly $6. But remember, that's what they do anyway, right? This is what their normal procedure is. But not only did they reduce their live chats and phone calls operationally, which those operational costs, obviously your employees' time, just picking up the phone, being on it, taking them away from some other task, they took 315 orders where their customers selected rush delivery between January 15th and the end of February. So for about 45 days, 315 of their orders, 22% of all the orders that they took, for a total of approximately $1,900 in additional revenue. Just by turning on Rush and just by doing something they do every day, but providing the service of giving their customers that peace of mind. That's an additional 15 orders. Their AOV is like 124. So that's about 15 additional orders for doing something that they normally would do without any delivery or operational changes. But they provide that service of peace of mind and guaranteed delivery to the customer. Awesome. Like, they are thrilled with this feature. So something for you guys to think about. Now, we have other florists who have all three of these turned on, and they really provide it as a premium service. Some charge more than $20. I've seen some way more than that. So it's definitely something that you guys want to look at. They took a lot of orders that they didn't think that they would be able to turn into rush delivery, and for almost a $1,900 in additional revenue and 15 orders, that was a pretty big deal. I think it's something you guys should try turning on for Mother's Day, even if you try to keep it simple. Try to get some quick revenue wins there in order to increase that AOV. Okay, cool. Let's move on to tips and gratuity. Let me go into product catalog and I'll start here. Let me just leave the screen right here. So let me just talk really quick. A great way to generate additional revenue, show your appreciation for your staff or your delivery driver, however you want to do it, you run your business your way, is by asking for the tips and gratuity during the order journey on your site. Now, there's two different paths to tips depending on how you're managing your orders inside of Mercury Online. So if you're a Mercury HQ user and you do all your management in Mercury HQ, tips is actually baked into Shopify, and I'll show you guys both paths. It's already baked into Shopify. If you're a Mercury point of sale user, we need to get a little creative here, and we actually have to create the tip as a standard or a personal touch add-on. So what I'll do is I'll take you through how we did that. So let's show you Mercury point of sale customers how we did that. So I created this custom add-on here that's called Tip for the Team. So let's go right into this guy, and I'll show you how I did this. How I have this set up. So I just named it Tip for the Team. I gave it its own SKU. I added its type as both a standard and a personal touch, and I'll explain the difference with it. I've done a demo on this in the past, but I will talk about what standard and personal touch are. I think it's something that we should look at with Tip and then kind of talk about it really briefly. I know that's not part of this, but it is a quick win for revenue. And then you can actually apply this add-on, take action and add it to collections, add it to all your products. I've added this to all of my products. So I've set the price thresholds here, $5, $10, $15, and $20. So you can name these whatever you want. The SKUs come in here and you set your prices, set it to active and save it. So let's go take a look at what this looks like. And let's go back to, let me go to my cart, let me flush out my cart. This is a test site, so that pops up. Let me flush out my cart. Let's go back to home. Let me go into Mother's Day. And let's choose the apple of my eye. Okay. All right. So I have added this product as an add-on. And you'll see that I've sorted this add-on so it shows up as the first thing. Now, one of the things you can do back inside of Mercury HQ, and I won't go into all the product catalog, is you can make this appear in the first position. So you can have this pop up first, or your greeting card or whatever. You know, these are just standard add-ons for the store, but you'll see that your customer can then choose 5, 10, the 15, or 20 like we set up in Mercury HQ. Now, I have this set up for both a standard, this is a standard add-on, and if we just add this item to the basket, you'll also see that I have this set up to be a personal touch add-on. So these are personal touches. These can be the same add-ons as you normally have for standard, or you can do different types of upsells. So maybe a handwritten greeting card, or you want to do a bouquet gift wrap, or outside of maybe your standard chocolates, you have gourmet chocolates that are a little bit more. So this is where you can really try to increase your AOV and upsell. But for the purpose of this demo, we're looking here at the Tip for the Team. And again, I can choose my options here of 5, 10, 15, 20. Let's just choose the $10 option and add one of these to my cart. And then you're going to see my total subtotal went from 75 plus the 10, and let's go into checkout. So you'll see as I go into checkout now, the tip for the team shows up here as 10 bucks. And again, this is for Mercury point of sale customers, but hey, it's your business and you might want to call this out even for MHQ. So I'll show you for Mercury point of sale, it's pretty visible here. It was pretty visible throughout the order journey. And as we go through all these items to go and check out, we've already checked our delivery methods and everything. We've entered our billing. You'll see for Mercury HQ customers, we have this screen down here. Show your support for the team at this is FTD Flower Shop Demo, and this is where you can add the tip. So this is, and you can change this verbiage to anything you want if you're an MHQ customer, so you can change this here. So if we choose 15%, it'll automatically do the calculation, put another line item in for tip of $12.75. Now I'm showing you both. Your customer probably wouldn't add and then add again, but hey, if they do, they do. But I would recommend probably going one path or the other. But your customers can then, for Mercury HQ, if you don't have this add-on, this is where your customers, right before the pay now, you can add and select your tip, or you can do a custom and say, I want to do $25, and then it'll populate the $25 in the tip, and then they can use the plus or minus to go up $1, down $1, and then they would click pay now after they've done all of that information. So two ways, both ways for you to do this, to add the tip and the gratuity, both for Mercury HQ customers and for Mercury point of sale. Okay, so let me share some data with you guys. So for, let me see, when was this? End of January. So this is right before Valentine's Day. I have a florist on MOL that's a Mercury point of sale customer. They created this tip for the team. They actually did something really fun. They actually took a picture and have a tiny thumbnail of their team here too. So it kind of personalized it. I'm just using this little graphic here with a delivery driver in front of the van, but they took a picture of their team and it made it more personal for them. It was a tip for the team. They added it as an add-on on January 29th. So since January 29th, all the way up until I think I ran this report yesterday, they took 317 orders with the tip added. So 15% of all of their orders, their customers added a tip. It totaled $1,700 in revenue from their customers for not product that you can distribute back to your hardworking staff. Mostly they were $5 values, but honestly, they had a handful of $10. They actually had a couple of $25. So especially around, when you have customers who like want to make sure that, they do the rush and then they're paying for this. I mean, sometimes when you get up against it, money is no object and people are willing to, hey, here's $25, here's $20 for rush. Like before you know it, your AOV is cha-ching, right? It just keeps going up. So it doesn't hurt to have those higher values, 5, 10, 15. I only showed 20, but maybe you want to do 25, right? Whatever your market is, you guys' business is all different. And this costs you nothing. Using the tech that we provided, creating an add-on, or using the Shopify integrated tip for the team, it's really a quick win. And it's really just activating it, collecting that revenue, and then distributing it to your team. With the shop I talked to, they were struggling. Like, they had minimum wage go up on them. So this was a way for them to offset some of those costs by having your customers who appreciate your shop and the good work that you guys do in your local markets, and rewarding your employees. So this is another quick revenue win that helps you, with your employees, building that rapport with them. And then your customers feel good about giving the tip as well. Okay, well, let's move on. Let's take a look at local pickup rules and delivery and cutoff exceptions. So let me go back in here. Let me go back into shop settings, delivery pickup and fees, right back to where we were with our rush, because this is an actual rule and an exception to delivery. So back where we were doing our rush, we're gonna go below where you guys have all of your cities that you serve, how you charge for all those cities. And then right below that, we have a section called delivery exceptions. So this is something that a lot of florists don't know about. And it should have been covered during onboarding, and most of the time it is, or they skim over it, or during a tech call, maybe you heard about it, but then you forgot about it. So I just wanted to highlight it again here. This is not a new feature. This is something we've had for a long time. We have just recently done the local pickup only. So let me talk about what it is and why does it matter. So these are rules that can actually set up, guardrails around your store, around the coverage area that you have, and also provide some quick revenue wins. And I'll talk about how I'm getting to a quick revenue on this. So local pickup only is a feature. It's something that we did recently in the last 6 months or so. And it's one that you can use when really, and use this as an example, when you reach capacity for deliveries on Mother's Day. So it can be used anytime throughout the year. But let me take a look. Let me show you how this was set up, and then we'll talk about cutoff exceptions and delivery exceptions as well. We actually had a florist in the Midwest that actually, I'll talk about cutoff exceptions in a second, but let me just talk about the delivery exception for local pickup only. So florist delivered, I have this already set up. It's a florist delivered product. We set the rule. Now there's several rules here, and I'll come back to this in a second, but we're going to talk about in-store pickup only. It defaults to all areas. You can't change this option because you want it to be pickup only for your entire site. Now I set this up to be active on Saturday and Sunday. Let's say we've gotten to Friday and we're full. Like, you did a great job of marketing, demand is high, your customers have gotten their orders in, you're full up, your trucks are completely full on Saturday and Sunday. There's no way that you could do any more deliveries. So we're going to turn this rule on, and you're going to see on Saturday and Sunday, and I'm going to save this right now in real time. And then I'm going to come back to the site and show you how this rule works. So let's go back to our cart. Let me flush this out. Let me change so I can add a new product in. Let me go back to Mother's Day. Let's go back to the apple of our eye. Okay, so this rule now is going to be applied for all of my orders. And let's go back and let's make sure I'm clear here. On the 10th and the 11th, we're doing in-store pickup only because we're at capacity for delivery. This is where you really can put a guardrail in so that you don't end up taking more orders than you can fill for delivery. But at the same time, you're not shutting your site off from deliveries. Maybe you have capacity, right? You've got capacity, and you're able to have your designers still continue to make arrangements, but you're not going to just have the truck space for it or the time to do all those deliveries. So when I come in here to take a look at this, you're going to see that the 10th and the 11th now are grayed out because I have delivery as my option. I can't choose this. So this is the guardrail, keeps you out of that. So I'm like, okay, well, pickup, can I do pickup at that time? And you'll see those dates are now made available. So now I can choose Sunday the 11th on Mother's Day for pickup in store. It applies all your regular business rules for pickup, your however long your design lead time, that all gets applied here, and it tells your customer. And I can add this to my basket, and I can go to checkout. And now this item is available for pickup. But what if your customer does come back in here and says, no, I want this delivered? So what we'll do is we'll go back in here and we'll say, oh, wait a minute. Some of the items in your cart are available for in-store pickup only. And it tells you specifically this item's available for in-store pickup. So that lets your customers prompt. It won't let them get for delivery so they can do pickup. This was one of those things that really makes a huge difference. If you still have capacity from your design staff and your customers are more than willing to come in. I saw a lot of live chats during Valentine's Day where customers had this turned off. They just suspended their site. They were getting live chats saying, hey, I see that you don't take delivery anymore. My next available date was the following Monday after the holiday, but can I come pick it up? Well, why would you make them, if you set up this rule, they can do it all online. Takes that phone call, takes that live chat away. If you set up the rules properly and you get something like this set up for local pickup only, you can put those guardrails up, still continue to take that revenue for orders that you can and want to take. And your designers do have capacity for that. Okay, let's go back and take a look at, let's actually create another exception rule. And let me just talk through another exception rule and what an example would be. So we have several other rules here, and you can label them like to be anything that you want them to be. So whatever it is, like you could, I'll show you a cutoff exception, but you could say like, do not deliver, and then you could put a zip code in or whatever you want that zip code to be. So we're gonna say, we don't want to do delivery, and we can choose exactly what area we want. So if I say, what if you're in a rural area and you cover the city, but there's a zip code that's really far out, and I don't ever want to drive out there. So I'm going to cover this Bolingbrook, but I don't want to cover 60490. So I can set up 60490 either with dates around it, or I could set it as forever. I'm never going to go to 60490 and save this rule. If I save this rule, anyone that enters 60490, it'll say, we're sorry, this product is unavailable for delivery. So we give your customers a prompt to choose something different, or in that case, it will say this product is not available for the zip code that you've entered. So for that rule, for a zip code like this rule, lets your customers know exactly why. Now, what if you wanted to just block delivery for certain days? You could do that. Maybe you're not going to deliver on the 4th of July, or you're not going to deliver on another holiday, or you're closed, or whatever the case may be. Or you're open for walk-in, but you don't want to do delivery. Or let's say there's a, what about this? Let's use this as an example. I want to overwrite my delivery fee. This is one of the use cases I had from a florist. I always deliver to my local cemetery for free. So if you're going to go and have a graveside arrangement delivered for an anniversary of someone that deceased, you can say, I'm going to do that as a courtesy and I'm going to say for free. So I can change this to a specific address and I can put in, like, I'm just typing cemetery, but I'm choosing whatever this, let's just assume this is a cemetery, and for Haneyville 36040 in Alabama, I'm not going to charge anything to get delivered there. And I can set this up again, specific days of the week. This could be a standing thing. I could put no dates in here. So anytime you get a customer that wants to deliver to that cemetery, you will give a zero delivery charge. That's actually a one real use example of one of these delivery exceptions. So cutoff exceptions work very similar. So let's get down here into cutoff exceptions. If we get into our delivery cutoff times. So these are your standard. You can do this standard, right? Everyone's probably got, like, we cut off every day at noon. I have it really late because I wanted to show you in my demo. It's not 4 o'clock here yet, so I wanted to show you some same day delivery. But obviously in real world, this would be much earlier than this. And you have this set up. This is kind of your blanket cutoff delivery time, right? I have some florists that have 15 or 20, 30. They're probably on this call, so they will not be named. But they've really gone in, but in a great way. Right? I won't call them out to embarrass them, and they've done a really good job of organizing their coverage area where all their zip codes are configured for different times and cutoffs. So they're not taking orders for, you know, oh shoot, I got to go now drive 40 miles to this store because I have this blanket cutoff time. So, or another example, what if during the summer they're doing bridge work or the bridge is out? And for our poor friends in Carolina, if there's anyone from the Carolinas, all the flooding that they had there, the roads are closed. They now have to take an alternate route. And so now, instead of it normally being a 4 o'clock cutoff or 1 o'clock, whatever your standard is, you can set up, hey, going to that place where the bridge was out, I named this that, I want my cutoff time to be 11 a.m. I need to know really early in the day if I need to go there, because now that the flooding has happened, I need to get around that. I need to account for that time. So this really lets you guys put in those guardrails. It's really an operational efficiency, not so much a revenue maker, but it is a revenue maker if you talk about operational, taking orders that you might have to refund because it's already past your standard cutoffs, really putting these rules in place to guard around that. This is something no other platform is doing to this extent. So something that Mercury Online is really proud of, that florists that use this really find a lot of value here and show that they can really improve operational efficiencies and actually cut costs. So it's like revenue by subtraction, right? It's like, it doesn't cost me as much to do my operations of making a refund and paying the cost of that refund and the angst from my customer and all that. Just take the orders that you want to take. Your website should be a set it and forget it, right? You know, from go. And then you need to come and make those tweaks as needed for as holidays come, as things like a bridge being out or flooding or whatever. But like, you can set guardrails around things that you normally are operationally going to do day to day, and gives those customers that expectation right from go. And it avoids phone calls, avoids live chats, lets you guys focus on what you do best and running your business efficiently. Okay, cool. Let's move on to analytics. I'm going to just touch on this real quick because I want to bring it top of mind to you, and I'll pull up my demo store. So I'm going to pull up my demo store. This is the analytics screen. So if you log into Shopify admin, you have your analytics tab here and your reports and your live view, and I'll talk about that really briefly of where you see this. I don't have a really good store to show this to you because obviously this is a demo and a walkthrough. This is my demo store that I was just showing you those orders. We only have some orders in here. I can't show you, and I don't want to show you real florist financials. I don't want to show any personal identifying information. So we'll look at the demo store. I actually have one thing I can show you from a real florist. I've masked out a lot of the info, and I'll get to that in a second. But I want to tell you the so what here, and I think a lot of you guys know this. You know, reviewing your analytics and reporting in Shopify is essential. It really is. It's one of these things where Mercury Online is built on top of Shopify. It's one of the benefits of having this platform. They provide so much data. It's like a central hub for all data collected across everything in your storefront. And it gives you dashboards like this that you can customize, and you can move things around, and you can get quick snapshots of how many orders did I fill in this. I'm looking at a 12-month period. I filled 169 orders, 11 orders, you know, like this is how I'm seeing all of this. And this is my demo store. So the data is kind of small. I'll show you a real store in a second. But this is where you get most accurate, up-to-date information. It empowers you guys as business owners to make informed decisions around product selection, marketing campaigns. Where is your traffic coming from? Where do I need to be spending my money? Who is my target audience? What are my products that are selling? And speaking of products, that's one of the reports I think is super important. And I want you guys to focus on. If you take something away from looking at analytics, obviously I want you to look at what does your conversion rate look like over time? What are your sales breakdowns? How much am I offering in discounts? My returns, wow, 429, that might be kind of high. What does my trend and graphic look like? I can show comparisons here. So I can compare this to a previous year. So if I apply this to a previous year, you can see, and there's not a lot of data here, but you can see what happened in 2023. Wow, I took $9,000 in orders and now I'm only taking $25. This is the demo, but like, you know, you can see this chart go up and down and why this graph changes. So it's good for you to kind of get this snapshot look. Now, I talked to you about the products. So being able to see total sales by product and why that's important. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you a real store. So this is a real store. I've masked all of their information that shows you who this is, but this is real data. So this is over the last 90 days. This is a 90-day report. And you're going to see that they had 1,954 products that were ordered over this 90-day period. The greeting card was by far and away as an add-on the number one. They took almost 298 greeting card product orders. But look at the Your Precious, 102. Clearly the best seller in this 90-day period. If you didn't have this product on your homepage, which it might be because it is the best seller, but maybe this is a price point that fits in your market. Maybe it's an arrangement that really appeals to your market and your base, wherever this florist is. I think this florist in the Midwest. But this shows you, hey, Your Precious needs to be on my homepage, right? The Happy Day needs to be on my homepage. The Mylar balloon is a top seller. So maybe my greeting card and my Mylar balloon need to be those two things that show up in my product page. Remember how I showed you how the tip for the team was the top? Maybe the balloon and the card should be the top things if that's what's the hot seller. And then you can break it down. Like you can then kind of decide, what do I want my top 14 things to be? Okay, this florist designed arrangement, the truly stunning, the gem. My chocolates is also another big one for an add-on. So this is real data from a real store. It actually also shows you your gross sales for that product, how much are your returns. So why did my Your Precious get $490 in returns? Do we have a design problem? Is there something with the perceived value? Is there an issue with what designer was working on this? Do we need to have maybe a session with that designer and maybe a learning or something? Who knows? A lot of data that you can come from here, different angles, right? Is it a design problem? Is it a delivery problem? What are my best sellers? What is the AOV on these types of orders? And there's all these different metrics that you can apply here. And Janet, maybe I'll do another session specifically on reporting and analytics with a store that has a lot of rich data like this that we can go through. But I wanted to hit on this today just to show you that this is something that should not be neglected, that really does play into quick revenue wins, because if you see that the Your Precious bouquet is a hot seller, put that guy in your homepage mix, and it should be like above the fold on the homepage. Like it should be featured here in this top 8 that your customers see if that's one of your hot sellers. So I hope that makes sense to you too. Okay, last but not least, I have one thing that's a bonus that I'm going to show you that has nothing to do with revenue or anything else, but something really cool that we launched. Let me go back to the dashboard. And let me show you Notification Center. I'm only going to talk really briefly about this, but this is something that just came up. We just launched this last week. You're going to see when you guys log into Mercury HQ, both Mercury HQ customers and Mercury point of sale customers, there's a new bell icon that shows up next to your name in your shop. So if you click it, you're going to see there's a 1 here. It looks like I got something I need to take action on. There's 1 unread. So when I click in here, it's almost like email from FTD. So this is a way that we are going to communicate to you guys in a much better way. So you had Blabber, you had Slim Casting. If those that go back a long way like me, I've been with FTD for about 25 years. So there's a lot of history there with messaging and not getting messages or having it in weird places. Going back to that single pane of glass here, this is where we've kind of taken Message Center notifications in our Notification Center. So you can click through and see we sent you guys all. You can all see this today. You should all have this in your notification that we sent you. Hey, welcome. This is our first message we sent to you. There's going to be different who sends it from. This is a did you know. I'll also show you we did release notes. This is from a release that happened yesterday. Now this was specific to Mercury HQ, but if we open this, it talks about new features. It talks about improvements that were made to the platform. This one's specifically for Mercury HQ, so you can read the release notes. And if we click on this link, it's going to open us a new page, and it's going to show our Mercury release notes, and it'll show from 4.9 all the things that were new with screenshots, how you can learn more about the new features that we did. So cash and check as a separate payment method was launched to Mercury HQ. This one specifically for Mercury HQ, there wasn't any MOL in here, but this is good for all of those that are on the platform. And this will come from a lot of different areas. You're going to get messages from marketing. You're going to get alerts, weather alerts, all types of things that marketing, member communications, support, product like me from Mercury Online, from Christy and the Mercury HQ side, from our great MTech support team. Everyone's going to put things here. So you'll see this bell start to light up and have different messaging in here. You can mark things as read and unread by clicking the envelope. So if you want to come back to it later, I can mark these two guys as unread, or you can mark them as trash and get them out of here and move them into the trash folder. They'll stay in here for, I think, 30 days or 60 days. It stays in your trash. It's almost like email from FTD. Now we'll make enhancements to this as we go forward. Maybe we can make it two-way down the road. But for right now, it's our way to communicate better to you. One of the things I want to say is product catalog updates will come in here. So when a new product is launched, a new global product, so when the new like Mother's Day products, so they're already in your catalog, but like when new seasonal stuff for summer comes along, you'll get an update in here that'll say new catalog updates. And when you click through, it'll show you those products with a link into the product catalog. So if you want to immediately go in and change those products, you don't like the FTD pricing, I charge more in my market, or it's okay, or I want to show it, I don't want to make it available, whatever that might be, you can come in here. We'll notify you when new products are coming into your catalog. Something asked by many members, and this is going to be awesome. So this is cool. You can even print them. So if you want to print it off for the staff, you can click the print notification over here. It generates a PDF that you can then send to your printer and print the notification, depending on what it is, and then post it around, leave it by your designers if it has to do with new products, whatever that might be. Cool. So this is something we're really excited about. We just launched it last week, starting to slowly generate messages to you guys. But this is a way for you guys to get messages from us. Always take a look for this bell up top. Okay, and with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Janet. I will change my screen and go back here. And we'll go to our question sides. I do want to thank everybody for your attention today. I'm 2 minutes over my goal, but let's leave it over for some questions. Janet, I'll turn it back over to you. I thank you guys for your attentiveness today.
Thank you, Aaron. Yeah, that was a lot of great info. I loved seeing all that. We do have some questions that we've gotten in, but if anybody has any other questions, go ahead and drop them in the question box right now. Since you were just talking most recently about the notification center,
sure.
One of our members has said they've gone into the notification center and they see the area with unread messages, but they click on it and there's no messages.
So let's make sure that I know who this is actually. So let's make sure I know who's asking this question. So if you click unread, it's only because they're unread. So once you've gone into the unread, if there's nothing unread, you're not going to see anything. So we need to do better about the red icons. We tried to make it as intuitive as possible, but if you click unread, these two guys are still in your inbox and they've both been read, so they're not unread. So once we start having a whole bunch of messages in here, we'll do better. Let me just tell you, we will do better. Like, we'll fix this so it's more clear. But once I make these unread again and they're unread, you'll see that now the 2 number here is these are unread. When you have a lot of messages, it'll make more sense, but because there's only 2 in here, like if we click red, you're gonna get none in here because you don't have any red messages. You only have the unread. So hopefully that makes sense.
But then it says he has 2 messages in red.
All right, I'll give a call. I'll give a call. I know who this is. I'll give him a call. Tell him I'll give you a call later.
Okay. We have another question. Back to the rush charges. Can you do rush charges on only certain zip codes, or is it all zip codes?
So it's all, but what you can do is this. You can take your products and mark them excluded from rush. So like your funeral arrangements, like maybe a large casket or a spray, like you would never maybe want to do that as rush because it's going to take the designer more time to do that. So what you can do is you can exclude certain products from being eligible for rush delivery. I will take a note though to see if it makes sense to do that. That's good feedback actually. So being able to exclude zip codes from rush. And you know, we can use other things to kind of tie into that. Like you can use those cutoff exception rules. You can use delivery exception rules to kind of tailor that. So if a specific zip code, if your concern is this is too far, or it's whatever the reason, I don't know what your whole reason is for the zip code rule. It makes sense to me though. I see where you're going with it. So I will take a look and see if we can maybe do something around that. I'll take a note and add it to my backlog. I can't promise we'll do it anytime soon, but it is a good suggestion to be able to orchestrate your rush by zip code. Okay, yeah, good question. Good question.
Yeah, this shop said they delivered to 200 zip codes, so it would be hard to use the rush then.
Completely makes sense. Like I get the ask by that. What you could do though is you could tailor some of those zip codes that are farther out that you wouldn't be able to do rush for, and make the cutoff times way earlier in the day, so it guards you against having to run out the door. But I totally get your 200 zip code thing. Duly noted. I took a note as well. Being able to orchestrate rush by zip makes sense.
Yeah.
Good question.
Okay.
Good, good advance.
Yeah, and while we're talking about this, I want to mention this too, because Aaron's got up on here that if you have questions, and this is more for maybe those that are watching that don't already have a Mercury Online website, if you have questions about that and how it can help you, to email our FTD technology specialist team at technologyspecialist@ftdi.com. If you are a current MOL user, go ahead and reach out to MOL support at ftdi.com, because they can help you probably even quicker, and that's MOL support at ftdi.com. I'll include that in your follow-up email that you guys will get with the link for the recording, because Aaron had a lot of great information that I'm sure people are going to want to look at.
If you want to share your screen, I should have done that. Like I should have.
It's okay.
Sorry about that.
That's all good.
Okay.
And then we did have, so I don't know on the messages, because we've had another shop say that they also say that they have 2 unread messages, but there's no messages showing. So
Janet, if you can give me those member numbers, give me those member numbers and I'll take a peek at it. I want to dig into that, because if there is a little bit of a bug in there for some members, like obviously I showed you in my example, and I can show a few others. So let me see what that is and let me dig into that.
Yep, I will be sure to, yeah, I know who that is, so we'll be able to share that after. Got another question. Where are the instructions for setting up the tips at? She looked through the documentation, she couldn't find it.
So there probably is not a help doc on the tips yet. This recording, I would recommend going back to this recording, and if you want to reach out to me too, we can go through it together. I have no problem reaching out to you guys. If Janet, you can provide that Florist my email address, and I could set up a call with you and I can walk you through setting up the tips as a product. No problem. Perfect. But yeah, the recording, it can show you again, like how I did this inside of the add-ons. If you're a Mercury point of sale customer, how you can do it there. And then for setting up tips for MHQ users, you can just have MTAC turn that on for you. So support can set that up for you. So just say, hey, I want to make sure tips is turned on. If you're not seeing it in your checkout and it wasn't done during onboarding, then you can absolutely have them just turn it on. It's just a switch for them to turn tips on for you, and then it'll be active. So MHQ, reach out to support, MPOS, either watch the recording again, or I will be more than happy to talk to you and do a demo walk through you one-on-one.
Awesome, thanks, Aaron. I've got one more comment or question. If anybody has any other questions, please drop them in that question box. This one is that they're worried about turning on the rush delivery, and that it'll give their customers sticker shock at the checkout.
That's good. Yeah, I completely get that concern. That potential sticker shock with rush delivery charges, especially, it's delicate, right? It's a delicate balance that you guys have to strike. But let me tell you this though, so with Mercury Online, you have the flexibility first to customize that fee. So offering it variable pricing, depending on the delivery window, I'd say test it. Test and adjust the pricing. Ensure it aligns with both your customers' expectations without driving them away. And again, it's not a one-size-fits-all approach. You can tailor both the cutoff time and the price, make it feel fair to your market, to your customer base. You guys know your market way better than we would at FTD. So you guys are really tuned in, like me as a product manager. I talk to you guys all the time. You guys are all different. So depending on your base and your market, you do that and set it however makes sense to you. And maybe start with one, like I said. Maybe do something that you're doing already, like the one florist who delivers by 3 o'clock every day and is now taking $5.99 to make their customer feel good about delivering every day at 3 o'clock, right? That's easy money. And you're providing a service. You're not just charging and just taking money. You're actually giving them that peace of mind and reducing your operational cost. And again, remember, rush delivery is a premium service. Your customers are generally willing to pay more for that peace of mind. So if my wife was a teacher and I wanted the flowers delivered by 3 p.m., providing that guaranteed delivery is something that they might be willing to pay extra for that peace of mind every day or during peaks and holidays. And then obviously, offering it can increase your conversion rates as well. Particularly those customers who might have been on the fence, oh, I don't know if they're going to be able to get this there. It's 10 o'clock in the morning, oh, wait, they got rushed. It guarantees that. When they know they can receive their flowers by a specific time, they're more likely to commit to that order, right? So you never know until you try. And that one florist that netted 15 additional orders in comparable revenue, I mean, that's a lot of significant increase in additional incremental revenue for you. So I would definitely not shy away from it and just give it a shot. And if it doesn't work, then you turn it off and say, hey, I gave it the old college try. This doesn't work for me in my market.
All right, thanks. It looks like we're out of questions for today. Thank you for joining us, everyone. Recording will be available on demand on the FTD Mercury Network Florist YouTube channel. For more education programming from FTD, please visit ftdi.com to register for upcoming free webinars and design shows and view past education programs on demand. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for your time.